It was in the early 1980s. A group of friends and I had decided to go up to Big Bear and go camping. We gathered our camping equipment, some tents, barbecue stuff, food, radio, even a couple fishing poles. When we got up there, we found a really beautiful spot with a creek, a pretty big creek, and a nice, shaded, beautiful spot to camp. We set up camp and we were having a really good time. We went in the spring. It was ice cold, but it was so much fun. We listened to the radio. We built a barbecue. We started cooking some hamburgers and hot dogs and sat around talking, swimming, fishing, even caught a couple of fish. As it started getting later, started getting dark, we decided to build a little fire, sit around it and tell scary stories, which is what we did. Everybody started getting tired and started turning in. I got into my tent and everybody separated and got into their own. It was pretty late. I had just fallen asleep and I woke up because I heard a rustling noise, and it was right next to my tent, and I remembered everybody putting the barbecue stuff and leftovers or whatever into the ice chest next to my tent, and I didn't think anything of it. And I realized what I was hearing was an animal. I kept hearing a snorting type of sound. So I tried to stay very still. I was scared and it got quiet. All of a sudden, my tent started rustling. And at the foot of my tent was an opening. And I stayed very quiet. And then I thought, I don't hear anything. It must have moved on. So I started to unzip my bag and climb out of my bag to peek outside. And as I was sitting up, this huge bear's head came into the tent, grabbed my leg and started yanking me, pulling me out of my tent. I was screaming, and as I was screaming, it made him more angry. He started digging his claws into my hip, pulling me. He bit down on my leg. He started shaking me around like a rag doll. My friends were screaming and clapping and yelling and trying to get him off me, but it didn't do any good. He was dragging me right near the creek. Then someone came out and started slinging a sweater or a jacket around, and the bear turned around and started chasing him. So a girlfriend and I, we ran to the car that we came in. We got in the car. She was trying to cover up my wounds. And just then, the bear seen us as we were getting in the car, and he started coming to where we were at. She was wrapping a towel around my leg, and I go, oh my God, he's coming. I thought we were safe in the car, but we weren't. The front windshield had 2 enormous cracks in it. He jumped up on top of the hood of the car and started slamming his arms on the car, on the windshield. the windshield broke. And this car had seats that you could fold down and get into the trunk. And we were rushing and trying so hard to get into the back of that trunk, and she shoved me in there, and she got anywhere holding the seats. He couldn't get into the back seat for whatever reason. Finally, someone came and started throwing things at the car and took off running, and I could hear the bear huffing and puffing, growling, scratching. All of a sudden, everything just stopped. We stayed in the trunk of the car. I was injured. I couldn't really do much. I couldn't run. So we stayed quiet. And it was quiet. There was nothing going on. I'd like to say about 20 minutes later, we heard knocking on the car. "Are you okay in there?" We said, "Yeah." They said, "The bear's gone." So, of course, we packed up our stuff and my friend took me to the hospital. My leg was torn open, my hip. I had bite marks on my legs. I had bite marks on my arms and scratches everywhere. 150 stitches later and 3 days in the hospital, I got to go home. I'll never think of camping the same way again. Stay safe, people.